Welcome back to my channel, BoLovey. Thank you so much if you're stopping by for the very first time. You know what to do. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. And if you are coming back, welcome, and thank you so much for giving my channel and my space time of day. Okay, now first and foremost, I really just want to thank you guys for just the reception of my previous post, and I mean all the other videos that I've really uploaded. I just want to thank you guys so much. The WhatsApps, the Insta stories, the tags on Facebook, and on social media. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for even sharing with your friends. I was catching up with a friend of mine, and she says to me, a friend of mine, I don't even know the friend, but she's like, a friend of mine was actually recommending that I watch your video on grief. If you haven't seen that video, please do go and check it out. I really, it's overwhelming, guys. I think even saying thank you sounds like it's not even real anymore. So thank you so much, and I do hope that we will continue as we are. Now, as I mentioned in my previous video, I did a part 1 of 2, and this is my part 2 of just what transpired after having a no, actually, please go watch that video, so then I will go into part 2 of what transpired after. So before I actually even left PE, I was still serving my notice. I had a couple of conversations with friends of mine who I knew very well would not only like sympathize, empathize, and just pray and stuff like that, but over and above that, they were just like, what, this is what you can do, this is what the church is offering, and this is how you can sort of like head towards that direction you want to head towards. And then the only commitment obviously you'll need to make is obviously showing up for yourself and going for counseling. And I was like, okay, but how do I even tell my mom that that's what I'm gonna do? But anyway, that was water under a bridge, because I prayed about it, and I felt like God was just leading me more and more. Every single time I would overthink it. And when eventually I did tell my mom, she was okay. She even said to me, so I was like, oh, okay, cool. Then girl is like deep within. And so initially so at home, right, things of sleeping over at friends' houses and stuff like that is just not a plan. Rather go to an uncle and aunt. But in this instance, I told my mom that friends of mine had offered for me to stay with them, and she was just like, okay, then as long as you are promising me that you are going to behave and. So I was like, of course I'm going to behave. So I left East London, guys, Dafika, Egoli, and a friend of mine picked me up from a park station. And he drives me to Randburg, and I get there to my friend's house, and I'm welcomed by just my friends. There was a situation in the sky. So I'm welcomed by friends. So grateful, eternally, forever grateful to my friends for opening up their space. I remember a friend of mine saying, what, Quakes, the only expectation is really for you to heal and for you to find yourself. And obviously it will figure itself out as we go along. And that's what it was. I had a roof over my head. I literally had something to eat every single night. And I didn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm an inconvenience, because the space allowed for me to exist in it and to be held and to live in community. And so I'll forever be grateful for my friends who were able to open their space and who were able to say, come in, get help, connect and plug into God again, and see what God is going to do with your life. So long story cut short, I then started wanting to pursue radio because I was just like, yes, that's what I want to do. Your powers, your metros, that's my vibe. I started sending out my demo, and guys, like, I kept on being told that my voice is too young, my voice is this, my voice doesn't sound like that. In as much as that was not my focus at that time, it really did do something. Like, it really did like hurt me a bit, because I was just like, yo, I can go, where am I gonna buy another voice? Where am I gonna buy another voice, you know? But I persevered, and I continued going for counseling, the kind of counseling that makes you go back to like 3-4-year-old you. Like, when you're walking around and you're thinking, yeah, sharp, I'm good. And the things that you do, you know, the things that you say are obviously influenced by the things that you haven't dealt with, as well as the things that happened to you at a very young age that you've managed to bury and pretend as if, okay, cool, they didn't do anything to you. So I'll forever be grateful for my friends who opened up their home. Forever grateful to every Nation Rosebank for their counseling sessions. Betuna, those sessions, I literally would have anxiety before them, because I would want to plan out my counseling sessions. She's gonna ask how I'm doing. I'm gonna say I'm fine, and then it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be that. But every time I would go for a session, the script would just flip. I'd just be like, whoa, okay. Felt like, you know, my counselor and Jesus just had a session about me. But I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful that it did not go the way I wanted it to go, and I'm grateful that it taught me to just come as I am to God, to come as I am in my safe spaces, and not want to be well put together, and not want to be presented in a certain way. But anyway, so I went through my fair share of counseling. In December 2017, that I got a job which was supposed to be for a month, and then the position was advertised, and then I applied, and the rest is really history, and it's really been God. Then when I got the job that I was working at, I moved out, and I moved closer to work, right? So guys, I was in the thick of Umgo in 2018. I had my first ever housemate had passed away. Good friend of mine had passed away. Like, it was just Umgo. I was going through this other course at church called the Well of Life. Wow, that, ne? But anyway, I'm grateful for that as well. And so I was just deep within Umgo. Hey guys, the depths of my heart are just so painful. And as much as I was aware that God is alive and God is good, but I was just like, yeah. In that time, I made a couple of horrible decisions. I isolated hectically. I don't know why I thought I was an island, because no man is an island. I isolated to the core, and I just overcompensated by being so busy at work. And so I ended up just making friends where I shouldn't have made friends, being in spaces that really made it so easy for me to be pulled into those spaces as for me to bring the light and bring God into those spaces. I remember visiting this other cell group and saying, you know what, I feel so bad because I feel like I got into a space that God called me to, and instead of being the one that brings the light, instead of being the one that is drawing people to Christ, I took my light and I hid it under the table, right? And I just believed that I was very undeserving of God's grace and God's goodness, and that I'm just a bad child. But time and time again, God kept on reminding me that you're still mine, you know, and I still have plans for your life. He was still reminding me that my purpose in you still stands. My thoughts towards you are still perfect and complete. And what purposes I established you for, you will still achieve them. And so it really had to take months for me to forgive myself. It took months for me to forgive myself. It took months for me to understand that because of A, B, and C decisions, D, E, and F are definitely going to be consequences of those actions, and you need to be okay with the fact that from those decisions and the choices that you made, people are going to sum up who you are. People are going to decide for themselves about who you are, and what your story is in life, and you need to be okay with that. You've got no one to blame but yourself. That thing of owning your story, it does not end well. It does not end well at all. 2018, I was that girl who was owning her story. I was that girl who was who finally felt like I could break out of I don't know what, but I was finally my own person. And that did nothing but lead me into very, very dark spaces and very, very dark corners. But I'm grateful that the grace of God was sufficient even for me in that space. His hand was never too short to reach out to me. And so I've literally just been seeing God's grace and God's hand over my life. So I'm really grateful that I went through the stuff that I went through in 2018, and God showed me that grace is not even about the works that you do. Grace is not even about the boxes that you're able to take, right? But I want to journey with you, and I allowed myself, because in my head I was just like, wait, but you've been saved for X amount of years, and how dare you, and I think I had to go through that season just to get rid of self-righteousness, just to get rid of, but you're not in charge and you can't trust yourself. Why are you trusting yourself? Why is your trust not in Jesus, and why is your trust in you as a human being? Because Vele babes, we fail every single day, but God doesn't. I intentionally rehabilitated in 2019, end of 2018, beginning of 2019. I obviously had to unlearn a lot of stuff. I obviously had to let go or forget about being in certain spaces, being around certain individuals. I really needed to become my own person again, and so I went through a cleansing, if I can call it that, cleansing journey with God, where I couldn't hide anymore. But God purified me, purified my heart. God set me free. I forgave myself, and I forgave the people that I met along the way, who I thought and felt like betrayed me and owed me all the loyalty in the world. And people don't. And my heart was starting to turn very cold towards certain individuals and towards certain things. And honestly, I feel like that season really allowed for me to have my own voice. But now, at least this voice now is channeled towards the right things. So I was able to be vocal about the things that I want and the things that I don't want. And I was able to be vocal about the friendships that I want to be in and the friendships that I don't want to be in. And even in the spaces and in the friendships that I'm choosing to be in, I'm also able to just be myself and not lose individuality. And so that's just the journey that I've been on with God. It's really been incredible. God has really been gracious and so kind. I've experienced the kindness of God. I've experienced the forgiveness of God. I've experienced the faithfulness of God. While I wasn't any of that, while I wasn't loyal, He was just like, this is my girl. This is my, not ride or die, but it's, we're here. And so I'm still there. I'm still enjoying the fruits of living a life that is surrendered to Christ, living a life that says, you know what, Lord, for your kingdom and nothing else. I've met incredible people in the past year. I've met amazing individuals who have really just contributed immensely to my life. I've been in spaces and rooms I never thought I'd ever be in. You know, I've been exposed to people I never thought I'd ever be exposed to. And that's the thing with the grace of God. It locates you wherever you are. It locates you with whatever you're busy doing, you know, and God is like, but my hand is on this one, but my hand is on this one. And God comes and he takes you out of whatever space, whatever mental state you're in, whatever position you find yourself in. God takes you out of that, and he journeys with you. But of course, he's not a forceful God. So God wants for us to have willing hearts. God wants for us to be obedient. I know I probably haven't said much, but those who are close to me and in my space know, you know, exactly what I'm talking about. And I think the way in which I've gathered and told my story here is the way it needs to be told. I'm really grateful for the people that have been in my life since like the move, and who continue to still be in my life. I'm really grateful that God can use my life just as a testimony of the fact that he will never ruin his reputation and not pull through for his kids. He will never I said to a friend of mine a couple of weeks back, I feel like God is not in the business of, you know, ruining his street cred, you know, by being awful towards you. You know, who do we think we are, that we think that God can risk it all and not be the God that he's known to be, you know, and not pull through in our lives. So if you're trusting God and you don't know, you feel stuck, you feel stagnant, really trust God. Ask God for a word. Ask God to speak to someone. You know, the amazing thing about God is that he mentions and he drops our names in people's hearts that we might not even know. He mentions our names in rooms that we're not, you know, that we're not part of. And when you allow yourself and you open yourself up to believing and trusting in God, open yourself up to the possibilities of being, you know, handpicked by God, and the possibilities of just, you know, living a life that really you were created to live. And so I really hope that you were encouraged by this video. I really hope that it has spoken to you in one way or the other. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to share this video with your friends, and most importantly, please don't forget to hit the subscription button. I hope that you are keeping safe and warm, and that you are taking all the vitamins and all the concoctions that you could possibly take, and that you are staying at home and protecting yourself and those that are around you. See you in my next video.